served as Cavaliers general manager for more than 3 seasons. How many years total in the NBA?
24.
24. Championship in Cleveland thrown in as well. And with Griff here, we thought it would be a good time to examine just what goes into the decision to make a big in-season move, because it's the sort of thing you guys deal with every single year, where your team stands, where you'd like your team to get to, and when it makes sense to finally pull that trigger. Let's start with the Bucks. They already made a big move, picking up Eric Bledsoe 10 games into their season. Kind of put yourself in their position and talk me through the internal conversation that you would have had once it became known that he was available.
So I think in their case, they were a team that obviously needed another playmaking creator, somebody who could break down a defense and create shots. I think they were really dependent initially on Giannis to maybe have to do too much and carry too much of a load. So I'm sure they were looking for a guard that had a high usage rate, that could also defend at the level they're used to. They did a great job over the previous 3 or 4 years of drafting length and athleticism, of investing in length and athleticism. And what they really needed to do this year was sprinkle in some skill set, maybe sprinkle in a point guard who could do the things Bled could do. I think you may see them continue to try to find some shooting to play alongside of the play creation that they now have in Bled and Giannis.
That does seem like a need for certain moving forward, but you see, at least statistically, it's paid off. 10-4 heading into the game Saturday night.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, eyes, ears, and numbers, I think, are what we really concern ourselves with. And in the Bledsoe situation, obviously, the eyes tell you that he's a really good fit. The numbers are telling you the same thing. I think what they invested a lot of time in as well, I'm sure, was doing the background research on his knees, getting a feel for where he was physically. He had missed a lot of time the last year or so because of that. And I think they wanted to have comfort level with that, or I would assume they did, certainly.
Well, the Philadelphia 76ers have been a case study in all kinds of fascinating strategy over the last few years. Most of the moves they've made have been in the offseason, not during the season. But, of course, they did make a deal this week that accomplished 2 different things. It ended the wildly uncomfortable stay of Jahlil Okafor. That just became a soap opera in and of itself. They also brought back Trevor Booker, who will be another veteran rotation player for that young roster.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the rare trades in the league where I would say unequivocally this helps both teams. It certainly fits Brooklyn's timeline. It gives them a kid who's almost 22, 21.9 years of age, who has incredible upside as an offensive force in the paint and really in the restricted area. He scores a lot of his points sort of 14 feet and in. He can put it on the deck and make a play from there as well. So it gives them somebody who has some upside, fits their youth profile. And in the Philadelphia case, I don't think it will be the only move you see Bryan Colangelo make to augment their group with a veteran presence. Again, a team that doesn't make a lot of threes relative to the rest of the NBA. And I think you'll see them invest a little bit in getting play terminators, because they've done a fantastic job there of getting secondary facilitators.
Bryan Colangelo said he had a move that fell through at some point to send Okafor elsewhere. But that was an interesting situation because everybody around the league knew that they wanted to move him, and so they have less and less leverage as time goes by.
Well, and it's interesting because when they had the most leverage, they had the least certainty of Joel Embiid's knee situation. And when you have a big who has been injury prone like Joel, it makes perfect sense that Bryan and his staff would want to hold on to Jahlil. And I'm sure Coach Brown wanted to do the same, because in the absence of Joel, you would have been able to really give him some time to be focal offensively. So it was difficult. They had to maybe go past the time that they would have had the best possible deal, but they really had no choice.
The Oklahoma City Thunder made 2 huge moves over the summer, of course, acquiring Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. It seems like something is missing at this point. If you're in Sam Presti's position, how would you go about gauging whether it's time to do something else? I mean, how deep into the season do you get before you say, okay, maybe it's not just a chemistry thing, maybe we need to make a roster move?
Well, we actually were very much in Sam's position when we put the team together our first year with Kevin Love, Kyrie, and LeBron. And we were 19 and 20 at one point. We'd had some injury issues. Anderson Varejao missed a lot of time early on, so we knew we were going to need to make a move to get somebody in the front court because of the injuries. But the first thing I would say is everybody needs to be patient. When you add 3 star-like players who are used to being focal, who are high-usage players, it's going to take a long time for them to figure out where their opportunities come from. I do think that OKC has a chance to grow from within. I wouldn't imagine, and knowing Sam Presti the way we do. I would be shocked if he was to do anything quick or urgently, but I do think that by the trade deadline, there's a couple things that could happen there. Maybe they do something where potentially Carmelo comes off the bench, which would be a possibility, as Dwayne Wade did in Cleveland, maybe to make the fit a little bit better. But I also
he says no, by the way.
well, and I appreciate that, and I think Dwayne would have said that going in too. But over time, when it starts to bear down on you that maybe the best opportunity to win is that, Carmelo wants to win above all things, and I think his time with Team USA shows that. So you may see that evolve. I think you'll see them again try to address the fact that they've got a little bit of an overload on defensive pieces, which is very rare. But they can be stifling on that end of the ball and still not score at the moment. So they're going to try to open their floor up a little bit. Again, look for a wing who can create something for them from a shooting perspective that also gives them a defensive side. Right now you see Roberson is almost all defense, and Abrinas has been very largely offense.
Right.
And I think they need to find that middle ground to some degree, and they may look to pursue that by the trade deadline. And also, if Paul George doesn't commit to Oklahoma City, one of the truly interesting things would be, does Sam actually move Paul to recoup some assets because he doesn't commit to them?
It's not working in February, and they don't think he's sticking around. You never know.
And Sam is pragmatic enough to do that.
Great insight. Appreciate it. You know you can't trade me, right? I know you're here, but you...
I'm going to trade whoever got these chairs. Can I do that?
Sure. We'll work on that.